Hi guys, I'm Noelle, the host of Pop Punkin' Pizza, and I know I haven't posted a lot of content in a while, but it's because I have a full-time job, so you know how that goes. And I looked outside and I saw that it was a nice day outside, so I figured this would make a nice background, and that's why I'm filming outside today. And also because I'm going to be talking about how to survive Riot Fest if it's your first time going to Riot Fest and you have no idea what to expect. And Riot Fest is an outdoor festival, as a lot of festivals are, and so I figured, outside it's an appropriate setting. And these tips could also apply to any other festival. It's not just for Riot Fest, because I've also been to some other festivals. And so I'm going to give you some helpful tips and tricks on how you can survive Riot Fest.
I'm going out, I gotta go. I'll bang a rang on the radio. So turn it up, I'm telling you. I think I'm ready for something new.
So depending if you got a regular pass, like a general admission pass, or a press pass like I got last year, you go in through different entries, but they're pretty close to each other. I don't know if I should say like where they were when I went, because they might be in a different place the next time, but they're probably going to keep them like within, pretty close distance to each other. So tip number 2 is to wear comfortable shoes. I was looking at this blog post on Riot Fest's website, like the official website, and they were suggesting that you wear Docs, like Doc Martens. But first of all, those are very expensive shoes, and second of all, I've heard they're very uncomfortable. Like, I don't even have like an official pair of Docs, but I have like knockoff ones, and those are very uncomfortable. Like, even just going to work in them, and like just a day of sitting down at an office job at my desk, like my feet hurt a lot afterwards. And so I definitely would not recommend them for Riot Fest. Like, I was literally wearing these shoes that I'm wearing right now. These are just Vans, and my feet were killing me. Like, they were about to fall off. I'm not kidding you. When I went to Riot Fest on the third day, like even after the second day, like I was debating whether I should even go the third day, because my feet were killing me that much. I'm really glad that I did go the last day, but I almost didn't because of the amount that my feet were hurting. And these are pretty comfortable shoes. And also, I have like these inserts in them. I highly recommend you get some sort of like arch support or inserts. Like as much cushion as you possibly can, because otherwise you're gonna be dying. So I would not recommend any kind of boots, especially since it might be hot. Like last time it was super hot all 3 days. Last day wasn't that hot, but like even though Docs are like technically waterproof, I mean, I would not suggest them. Like, if you really care that much about getting your shoes like muddy or dirty or wet, then I would just get sneakers, but like ones that are waterproof, Okay, so tip number 3, it might be very hot, like I said, so dress accordingly. Like, I just wore a t-shirt and shorts all 3 days, but people go like all out with their outfits. So like if you want to know what people generally wear there, like I could make a whole other video on like outfit tips of like what you could wear to Riot Fest and things like that. But crop tops, maybe wear like a skirt or something, just like something fashionable and punky. You can wear whatever you want, but I'm just saying it's probably gonna be hot, because in Chicago, like early September, I mean, you never really know, but just check the weather beforehand, okay, people? Because there were people there wearing like leather jackets, and it was like 80 degrees outside at least, and so I was really questioning how they were not like melting. I mean, you do you, but I would rather not melt. So yeah. And tip number 4, bring a fanny pack. Don't bring a big backpack or anything like that. Don't even bring anything that you carry on your back, because people crowd surf And if they're wearing a backpack, they might hit you in the face, like they hit my sister in the face or like on the head last time. So I would not suggest bringing a backpack because you might whack someone with it. Just my advice. And also that might be heavier to carry, and again, if it's hot, it's gonna make you more sweaty if you're carrying something on your back. So this is smaller and it's just easier to carry. You just strap it around yourself however you want. So what's inside my bag? So here we got some band-aids because you never know when you might have an incident. I wish I had these at the last local show that I went to. Also some like antibiotic cream. This one also has pain relief in it. This I just got from Target, I think. So that's good to have just in case you have any injuries. Since it's like the ground is grass, since you're outside, it's not a hard floor that you would fall on. But, you know, still, you never know what's gonna happen. So, let's see. Well, I didn't use earplugs because it's like outside, so like I feel like the sound isn't as loud. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's like super loud, but I don't know. I feel like it's not good acoustics, so I'd rather not wear earplugs so I can like hear things better. But I don't know, you might want them if you're like closer up. Also, the sun is like burning me right now, so I don't know, I might go into the shade or something. But anyway, speaking of which, that reminds me, you want to stay in the shade at Riot Fest as much as possible because, well, you know, if it's hot, like they have an area by one of the stages that's got like trees and it's got some nice shade. So I would recommend wherever you see shade to go sit down by the shade as much as you can, so you can, you know, take a break and then you gain some energy or reserve some energy for moshing and such. And I also have portable charger. This is important because at the end your phone's gonna be dying and you don't want to be stranded there. If you lose whoever you came with, you know, you need to call them, so that's not good. And you also want to be able to film videos, take videos, you know, if you do that kind of thing at concerts. And you don't want to run out of power before your favorite band plays. And I don't know, tissues, you might need these for who knows what. I mean, they have porta potties there. They might not have toilet paper left in the porta potties by the time you get there. I mean, who knows? So yeah, also hand sanitizer is very important for that same reason, because of the porta potties. And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, wear sunglasses and sunscreen. Obviously you can bring good sunglasses, but like if you're afraid of losing your sunglasses, you could bring very like cheap ones. If you're concerned about that, I wore these and I didn't lose them, but like I feel like as long as you're wearing them, they won't get lost. I mean, it's not guaranteed obviously, but like if you wear them on your head, they might get lost. They might fall off. So either hold on to them for dear life or just bring cheaper sunglasses that you don't really care about losing. There's a water refill station, so you can ask people at the info tent where that is, because they might change it around from where it was the last time I went. So, you know, I don't know where it's going to be next time, but you can ask people wherever the info tent is, and you can look at Riot Fest map. They usually have like a map showing where everything is. So you can bring an empty water bottle, and it can't be metal or plastic. Like this is metal, so you can't bring one like this. You have to bring like a plastic one. I don't know if it has to be clear. I don't think so. When I last checked on their website, I don't think it said it had to be clear, just that it had to be like plastic, that it can't be metal or glass. But just to be sure, just go to their website at I'll put the link to this in the description. They're frequently asked questions. They have a whole list of things that you can and can't bring. Okay, so the food lines are hella long, and I didn't know that there was another like concessions area until the very last day, and I was sitting at a certain stage underneath the trees, and I saw that there was a whole another area where there was more concessions, and the lines weren't so long, they were still very long. So just be prepared for that. You might not get to eat there. It's very likely that you won't eat there. So let me put it that way. So you definitely want to eat a lot before you go. Like, make sure you're super hydrated and you eat a lot before you go, because I mean, you're gonna be starving by the end if you don't get to eat there, which you probably won't. And yeah, the food is super expensive, and you need to bring cash because the card readers might be down, which they were last time that I went, so you need cash. And if you're afraid you might get crushed, you can ask a security guard to like help you get out, or like lift you over the barrier, or whatever needs to happen for you to get out. Or you can like ask the people around you to get the attention of a security guard to help you get out. Last time, at one point, I was standing by like the barrier near the tent where they have like the soundboard and everything, like the control where they like control the sound basically. And so I felt like if need be, I could just like jump over that fence if things got too crowded. So I don't know, I felt kind of like safer there rather than being in the middle of the crowd. So I don't know if I want to recommend you stay by like a barrier where you can get out, because it might not be the same experience as I had when I went, because you never know what's gonna happen. You can't really predict that. But you know, if you're like afraid that you might get crushed or like stepped on or anything, I would suggest just don't try to go close up. Just like stay where you know there's not gonna be a lot of people, and stay either to more like the side or the back or wherever there's not a lot of people. But one thing I will warn you of is if you see like an empty space that's kind of like an empty circle, you might want to stay away from that, because that might be a mosh pit opening up, and you don't want to be caught in the middle of that, especially when you're trying to avoid that kind of thing. And so yeah, just make sure it's not a mosh pit before you go to like a suspiciously empty space. And if you kind of like feel like you're gonna pass out, I'm not like a doctor or anything, but I've heard tips from other people before where they said like kick your butt, or like clench your fists, or like sit down and then like put your head between your knees, or like look down if you feel like dizzy, you know. And it does work, because I get dizzy sometimes, not necessarily at concerts, but just like in general, because I have like low blood pressure. But like when you're feeling dizzy, if you just like look down and you just like kind of put your head between your knees, it usually helps me. But you can like look up other tips to help you if you're like feeling dizzy. Those are just things that help me, but they might not work for you, so you know, do your own research. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, so once the exact schedule is released of like exactly when each band is gonna play on each day, I would suggest you make a list of who you want to see and when they're playing. So this is the list I made last year when I went. So I did one for Friday and Saturday. I wasn't sure I was gonna go the last day, or maybe I made one for Sunday, but I just couldn't find it. I don't know. But anyway, and then you can like take a picture of this, or you can even like make something like this in your notes app on your phone. It just helps to have with you at all times, so you know exactly where you want to go and you don't miss any bands that you want to see. and it might not go exactly how you planned it. Like, you might not get to see all the bands you originally thought you were gonna see. That happened to me last time. And like sometimes it's a pleasant surprise, like you don't think you're gonna see one band, but then you do, and then it turns out you like them, you know, because you just happen to be by this one stage at a certain time. So, you know, it could be good or it could be bad. But yeah, as long as you get to see the bands that you most want to see, then that's what's most important. Oh, and if you wear like a hat, like a baseball hat or something like that, I wore a hat like that at Lollapalooza one year, and I almost lost it because like I took it off at one point because I was like too hot, and my hat was just like making me hotter, and so I almost lost it as people were like, you know, like it is so packed in there, you know, because there's just like masses of people. So you might lose your hat if you take it off and just hold on to it. So either hold on to it for dear life like I did, or you will lose it, or just don't wear a hat. I mean, what can you do? Oh yeah, and last thing, don't be an asshole. Like, don't be pushing people or shoving people or hurting anyone in any way. Like, don't be like pushing people, especially if you can tell that they don't want to be pushed into like a mosh pit or anything. Like, just be nice to everyone, okay? Even when you're moshing, just try not to hurt anyone, okay? Just be a decent human being. All right. Those are all the tips that I have for you. And if you've been to Riot Fest or any festivals before that are similar, and you have any tips for people who are going for the first time, comment down below. And I hope these tips were helpful to you in any way. And if you're watching the video version of this episode on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and like and comment if you liked it. And if you're watching it in podcast form, don't forget to follow us on whatever podcast streaming service you're listening to this on. And I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you either at Riot Fest or in the next video or episode, podcast episode. See you guys.
Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza.